Hey, it's Mana and welcome to my channel. So today I have a junk journal tutorial for you guys. So let's talk about these beginner friendly journals. Junk journals that I make are usually A6 size, and in terms of binding, these are quite beginner friendly. Here I have a journal with two signatures. You can obviously make for as thick as you want, and this is only one signature. Although this is how I usually make my junk journals, but today I'm going to make something a little different, and I'm going to make a dose do. I believe it's pronounced as this, and if I'm wrong, please do correct me. And the idea of this journal is that you basically interconnect journals or make a journal that looks like sort of like this. I like to call it creating Z's or N's or even M shape. And the fun part of the journal is that you can actually add more and more layers of journals on it. So I've already prepared two signatures for it, and one signature consists of total 10 pages. Also, I'm creating this junk journal for craft diary season, which would be fall. As you can see, I added the first page according to the theme. If you don't know what a craft diary season is, it's just a 7-day prompt or a challenge that I'm hosting. More than a challenge, it's just something to help you create, just a little something to give you a start. I've linked it down below in the description, so do check it out. Within the signatures, pages that I've used are mostly tea-dyed paper, book pages, and brown packaging. This is the bottom part of the packaging. Using these give quite detail to your page. The order I like to set my signature are one side plain, other side with a bit of something going on like text or flower or graph. And the second signature is no different. The basic orientation is the same for both of these signatures. Now for the cover you would need is a cardboard. This is something I saved from, I believe, cloth packaging. So one side of this cardboard is gray and the other side is white. And aside from cardboard, you'll need is a thread and a needle, a sewing needle. I'm going to use embroidery thread for this project. For measuring, I'm using A6 size paper purely because I don't like measuring at all. So you can obviously use proper measurements for this. What I'll do here is outline the page for both signatures. What we want to do here is just extend the lines an inch or two outwards for better measurements. After cutting, you should have two covers. So here's a tip. When we'll stick both the covers, leave an inch or two from the spine where you'll add papers. That's because as your junk journal expands, it might not stay in shape, and so you will need that extra flexibility. Both your covers need to be an inch or two apart. Also, don't forget to check both sides when you are gluing it up. Our basic layout is complete. What you'd want to do here is write front and back on the cover so that later on you are not pasting paper or sewing wrong way around. So here's what happened. At first, as you guys can see, I took out papers from an old book just because I wanted to do collage for the covers. But I realized that it might just not work because I was going to cover the spine and that would have caused it to lose its flexibility. And I thought that it might not work, so I discarded the whole idea. So instead of collaging, I decided to use scrapbook paper. Initially, I thought to stick the scrapbook paper on the entire surface. Not only I was going to cover the spine again, but I realized that the paper will be added to the inside and it is just something that it will confuse me later on, so I decided to use it for just the cover areas. And not to mention that this is where front and back that you wrote will come in handy as well. I really like how the pattern came on the front cover. Now for the remaining gray areas, you can cover it up with paper or scrapbook paper, anything, but I decided to add cardboard to it as well, just to balance both sides. And again, I left the spine area so that it stays flexible. For the inside of the cover, I'm using book paper to cover the spine. Using the smallest paper from the signature, I marked holes. Again, I didn't measure it, so I just eyeballed it and used a thumb pin to place holes. I did that for both of the signatures. I'm using the same method and the paper to place holes in the cover as well. Here's how you can measure the thread. I just roughly took the size of the cover by 5 times. Start binding by inserting the thread from the inner middle area of the journal. Make sure you leave a little bit thread behind for the knot that we'll make at the end. Now you will have to insert the needle from the outer upper area then the bottom inner hole, and lastly from the outer side in the middle hole. Make sure to stretch and tighten the thread plenty, not to cause loose grips. After tightening, tie many knots. To hold the thread firm, I also like to glue the knots. I'm going to do the same for the other signature as well. After adding the signatures, I decided to use scrapping paper for the insides as well. To measure on a rough scale, just leave an inch above and an inch on one side and take measurements. This is something that I often do and it works for me, and it does gives me that might not be perfect, but it does gives me a good measurement. So here's what I did. I left two sides as they were plain, just because if I were to add another cover to this, I'd want the same inner covers, so I left it as it is. I simply love how this journal turned out. Let me know in the comments if you'll make this. If you do make a do-si-do junk journal, do tag me on my Instagram. I would love to see how you made it. Thank you loads and loads for watching. I hope it helps you in creating. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.